Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I'm in basketball mode, but I wanted to document something for a therapy session real quick so I can get back to what I was doing because I truly am in basketball mode. But um, yesterday I made a therapy session letting you guys know about what was I doing? How did I phrase it? I guess it was a situation where a high school buddy of mine, I guess, didn't really know her that well, but knew her along the way from social media sense. Hit me up and I thought she was a sex bot. Okay, and so I kind of curved her without actually listening to what she had to say. Um, then she hit me up on Instagram, as to which I realized it was actually that person. So basically, what she was trying to do was get me to help her with her final couple of people. She needed to find two more people to get a app sweepstakes deal somehow to get like some type of $60 doll for a kid. So anyway, I told you guys about it because I don't remember how the context came up in conversation, but anyway, I had a little uh, interesting scenario that kind of played itself out today, that kind of made that all come together. So three things coming together to make it make sense. I'll try to explain it best I can. So that situation was at hand. We were trying to get that straightened out. I was able to add myself to that list so she only needed one more person. So I told her, hey, let me try to see if I can find that other person for you. I know somebody who might be willing to do me a favor. So I told her I would connect her with Karen and try to see if we can get that last person done. So we tried that, and everything went smooth with that. But the path to that going smooth was interesting because of how it ended today, how we finally got it done. So okay, the other situation is this: I got my cell phone never-ending problems with these cell phones. You know, I gotta pay these bills all the time. I've complained about this in the camera a million times. So it came a situation where I got a text um, while I was going back and forth with Karen and Celine this morning, trying to straighten out what was going on with the app. I got a text from T-Mobile telling me, "Oh, your transaction didn't go through. You owe us $51 right now. We're gonna shut you down." So that was expected. We go through this all the time. I kick the can down the road to keep from having to pay them because of a bunch of reasons that you guys already know about. But the bottom line was what I needed to do. It was like 12:55. The markets for, when you have a stock market, y'all know all my money and stuff is over where it's at. Needed to be, taken care of. Everything needed to be done before 1 o'clock. So I had 5 minutes, 5 exact minutes, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, so I'm trying to multitask. I'm trying to connect these folks so they can get the app going and all of this, and then I get the text. So I'm like, let me address that. So I try to address that via the T-Mobile app, and the T-Mobile app wasn't really necessarily letting me do all my things. So I'm like, I'm trying to multitask and all this, and time is running out. So I'm like, all right, let me go to Fidelity's app and try to secure the shares necessary to assure that I can have the money, so at least I can tell them the money will be there in a couple days or whatever. I got 5 minutes left for me to do this. I go on the Fidelity app, and I see that they've switched the app so much to now they are trying to force people to sell shares without being able to select which shares there are. In other words, they've always had the option to select your tax lots, meaning if you bought some shares a year and a half ago and you need to sell some of your shares, you can pick exactly what shares you need to sell and not others. And that's a very important thing for me because some of the shares that I own, that I purchased initially for AMC, are real shares to my knowledge because I purchased them before 2 and 3 years ago. So the chances of them being real shares are high. And the shares that I've bought since are all synthetic. We know that. They've been rigging the stock market for years. It is proven that the shares that they are selling right now of AMC, GME, and a million other stocks are fake. And anybody who follows me knows that. They are rigging the stock market. The entire stock market is effectively corrupt. This is a fact. This is a fact I've been talking about for a long time. So for me, it's important that I'm able to select tax lots because I'm not selling real shares. I am an AMC ape and have been an AMC ape for 3 years now. They've effectively made it. I've got 2 minutes left. I'm checking the app and they're not allowing me to select my tax lots. I was not able to choose which shares I needed to sell for the very first time in this process. Time is running out. I got 2 minutes left. My head starts sweating. My stomach starts hurting. My head gets dizzy, and I start to basically faint. I kid you not. For a little bit of TMI, I'm having a seat in the bathroom in the process of all of this, doing what's necessary, and that is exactly what happened. With 1 minute left, and I'm trying to do all of this, my body literally fails me. For a minute and a half, I'm sitting there thinking I'm going to die. Now, the good thing is I've gone through this a couple times. I've had food poisoning a million times. That's how it goes for me. If I eat a bad almond or a bad piece of chicken or a bad piece of bacon or something like that, that's the process. That's how it goes. I'm going to be sick on there, sitting there, sweating, pain, but never as quite as intense as this and never quite as concise in a moment as this. Usually it's a gradual thing. I start the process and then proceed to start the whole sweating and all that. This came out of nowhere. This is one of the things where it's like, okay, I'm doing it, boom, whoa. It's like that. It's one of those. And the duration of the time it took from 12:59 to 1:01, I'm sitting there dying in pain, shaking and stuff, couldn't even do what needed to be done to take care of myself. Just long enough for the time to pass that I needed to sell those shares. I couldn't figure out which tax lots to sell. I couldn't sell anything, and my body started tripping, and it was it. By 1:01, when the markets had effectively closed, my body started chilling out. I was cool. I stopped being sick. And then at like 1:02, Celine texted me and said, "Hey, we secured it. We got the doll for the kid." So I'm like, "Yay! We completed our mission." I text Karen back like, "Yeah, it worked. We were able to effectively get this done." So it was all this going on, and I realized something. It hit me like a ton of bricks. It was like all of that essentially was in place to keep me from effectively being appreciative of what the true plan was initially, was to just simply get the doll for the kid. Like, that's all I really wanted to do. All of that stuff took me down a rabbit hole that made it so that I had to address other things and feel other things, but at the end of the day, all I really wanted to do was help Celine get that doll, and that was literally it. So it's one of those situations where I felt like, as I was sitting there dealing with all of this, understanding that what that moment tried to do was rob me of the appreciation of being the blessing that I asked the Lord to make me be. Earlier in the day, yesterday morning, while I was doing my little shower routine, my prayer routine, I said to the Lord, as I often do, "Lord, please allow me to be a blessing to someone other than myself." Now, normally when I say that, it's because I think I'm going to be in the presence of others, and I hope that He can allow me to be that. But I live my life in isolation, so the chances of me being a blessing to anyone other than myself is slim. So that's rarely an affirmation that I say. But I said it yesterday out of randomness. And He put that circumstance in my life with Celine and all of that stuff so that He can, from where I sit, honor that blessing, allow me to be a blessing to someone other than myself. In this case, to help not only rope Karen into the blessing of being able to help complete the mission to get the doll, but also allowing Celine to help, continuing to be a great mom and do this for her kid. Something that she said she would have liked to been able to afford. So I'm like, hey, let's get it for free. You know what I mean? Let me take what the devil, so to speak, used for evil, which was me being rude to old girl yesterday, right? And the circumstances that were supposed to distract me from ultimately being able to appreciate what we were able to do today. All of that was just an antagonist and a distraction to keep me from understanding that I did what I set out to do. All that other stuff that was taking place around it was supposed to distract me from being able to appreciate that I got it done. And that's the point. I know that I did something that I could be proud of. You know what I mean? I took what was otherwise negative energy, or what was otherwise skeptical energy, and I turned it on its axis. And I took an opportunity where the Lord allowed me to be a blessing to somebody, or where I was asked for help from somebody, and I roped somebody else into that opportunity to be a blessing as well, so that they can feel good about themselves in a small way. That was my intention. You know what I mean? And so we accomplished all that. God and I accomplished all that. Celine's going to be able to get the doll for a kid. My stomach doesn't hurt anymore. All of that just taken care of. Took a nice little shower after that to make sure I made it for what needed to be taken care of after all that sweating. And as far as the cell phone situation is concerned, I'll deal with it when I deal with it. The point is, they didn't cut me off last night, so that I was able to communicate all I needed to get that done. They didn't cut me off this morning like they could have, so that I was able to continue the process of getting that done. And as far as the tax lot situation with Fidelity, well, I can tell you, before my stomach started hurting, I was just going to secure the funds. That's what I'm here to tell you. I was going to just say, forget it. I'm just going to sell what I need to sell. It ain't everything, even though the way they set it up is they want you to sell everything. So the options, instead of that once allowed you to pick your shares, now it's a big red button that says sell all. Because of course they want you to sell out of your position, because they're evil, corrupted entities that want to rig the world's economy and draw from its lifeblood until we're all in a space where we don't know nothing but to be dependent on them. Hence why I'm constantly dealing with T-Mobile the same way, because they're constantly pushing pressure on the minds of the public to pay extra for a system for performance that is okay. I mean, I'm not gonna say the performance isn't good for T-Mobile, but the way they go about it is, I don't know, doesn't seem very good. I guess we've talked about it many times. The way they go about it, getting the money from people, is they tack on extra fees for no reason, et cetera, et cetera. It's just an antagonist, it's a corrupt antagonist that is taken from the lifeblood of the working people. And so, as I continue to fight corruption and it continues to weigh down on my head, trying to distract me from the blessings that are otherwise in my life, and of course my faith is in place, so it had to be a double down on that, which would attack me physically since it couldn't kill me mentally. And all the while, the Lord is using that same opportunity to keep me from selling shares that I don't really want to sell in a way that I probably shouldn't sell any damn way. And what would make it really dope is if Moaz came tomorrow and then sent the thing to the moon, so I'd never have to worry about money again. But the reality is, even if it's not the case, the Lord has made so many different symbolic actions in my life, such as this one right here, to help me understand that I'm dealing with more than what my will is. My will is to do this, 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 and this. The antagonist against me came and did that, and that. And at the end of the day, the only thing that mattered was that I did what I set out to do. In the presence of all the distractions from the corporate nonsense, the distractions from the physical pain, the distractions from the technical issues with apps and things not working, all of it came down to one thing and one thing only: my faith in God. My belief that he was going to work the situation out, my belief that he was going to get me through that situation, my belief that I didn't have to, in the process of going through the sickness, sell shares to adhere to pressures from corporations that don't mean me well. You know what I mean? Adhering to pressure to sell out of a position that I know I'm only in because of the corruption in place that would otherwise coerce me into selling all my shares instead of selecting my tax lots as necessary to begin with. I know that I'm dealing with spiritual warfare, which is why this is important to document, because I understand the fullness of what it is I'm dealing with. There's spiritual warfare coming from physical places, from technical places, with your technology and things of that nature, from emotional places, with your reasoning and your ego that would otherwise get in your way, that would make you have frustration about things that don't actually require you to be frustrated at all in order to be addressed. Circumstances that would take your happy energy that you were looking forward to using, the Lord is looking forward to using within you, that would otherwise allow you to be unselfish, just to want to do things for others and to want to rope others into the blessings that you're trying to be a part of. That would take that energy and otherwise have you thinking about adhering to pressures and making mistakes that are against the very nature of what it is you've been doing for the last 3 years, while simultaneously making it feel like as if your body's not going to be here no more to do what it is you're trying to accomplish. And I'm telling you that I was able to get through that by saying praise the Lord. And at the end of that rainbow, at the end of that little sweating session, I'm telling you that what I was trying to do for the last 12 hours got done at that moment. At the same time, what I was trying to do was trying to basically appear as impossible or failure. The very thing I've been trying to do for the last 12 hours, it was about to get done. And for the 3 or 4 minutes leading up to it, I went through every possible frustration to keep me from not only appreciating that, but from possibly even thinking that it mattered anymore. And it did. Celine was telling me how happy she was able to get it done, thanking me profusely, telling me to thank Karen as well. Karen's telling me how much she appreciated that I let her be a part of the situation and how much she appreciated the app, because now she's going to be able to shop on that app and all kinds of different stuff, so it was a blessing for her. You know what I'm saying? This is a lot that I was trying to do that got done that I wasn't supposed to be able to celebrate. That's why I wanted to document this, because I wanted to let you see how God is working in my life and how Satan's trying to work too. He's trying. I guess right now I'm supposed to be worried about my phone being cut off, so I can't do my Laker thing, on Saturday. Maybe I won't have my phone for the weekend, so. But let me tell you something else that he did for me while we're talking about this. I had secured funds for everything that I needed last week, same way. Didn't have no problem selecting tax lots then. They've changed it since. They've made it so that I couldn't select tax lots since. Last time, no problem. Even though they had made changes to the app, not enough changes to keep us from being able to select our specific shares. So they remedied that problem. They made sure now that whatever you sell, they have control over, apparently. Or it appears that way by way of the app. They've hidden the select tax lots option on Fidelity app, apparently. See, that's another reason why it's important to have this voice, because I'm sitting up here telling you about all the blessings. I can also tell you about the specific corruption that is taking place with a specific company. And they act like people like me are not supposed to know that they are doing what they do. Friends, we know you haven't covered. We know who you're in there with. We know our Bank of America's been taking money out of people's accounts. We know. We know. We know how close we are to what it is we're trying to do being done. You know how I know? All of that I've been talking about for the last 16 minutes. God's been with me every step of the way for every share I've held. And anytime I wasn't supposed to sell a share, it was always something in the way of me doing so. Even when I needed to. Down to a sweating, stomach ache thing that only took but a 3-minute span. And the 3 minutes necessary for me to be sick were the 3 minutes necessary for me to let time pass so I couldn't get those cells off. God was in control. Even when the devil was trying to work, God was in control. Even when the devil was trying to confuse, God was in control. Because I was a second away from the triumph that I'd been working for the last 12 hours, if not for the moment that wanted me to quit right before it. Everything was going on right before the blessing. Everything was going wrong right before Celine said, "We got the doll." And I say to myself, thank you, Lord, for giving me something to look forward to that would otherwise make it so that those moments that were supposed to mean for hatred also had something to balance it out in success. Because see, if I would have never set out to do for Celine and her daughter, I would have never had nothing to be appreciative of when that went down. It would have been nothing. Sadness, physical pain, frustration, tearing my hair out because I realize I'm being corrupted against. Now I can't get what I need in terms of the money that I have to be able to secure. I can't do what I need to do to keep my mission alive because of how corrupt they found another new corrupt way to screw me over and everybody who's also a part of this ape movement. They found a new way. I'm supposed to be crumbling at the pressures and the frustrations and the FUD of their evil and their confusion. Continuous psychological confusion that they've placed upon each and every ape from every angle that they control. God gave me something else to be appreciative of. And because I accepted that gift that even came to me in a way that was otherwise supposed to have me push it away. Because of the nature of sex bots constantly hitting me up every 3 days. Every day, 3 times a day, rather. To where when a real person hits me up asking for real help, I treat them like a sex bot because every day I've been hit the same way. The Lord allowed me to see through that, through the conditioning of my mind and what my norms are, to where I think everybody's against me. Let me put this up to help me understand. And nope, not this time. You can be a blessing to somebody else, and I will coerce you into be able to do a multitude of things. And I'll be able to touch a multitude of things and be a blessing in a multitude of ways that distract away from all different types of stuff that's also on the way. To help remind you that you need to apply your faith not only in that, but also in the perfection of what it is I can do in a multitude of ways while you're focused on what it is you should not be. I can make it so that you have something when that moment comes, if you stick with me. And that's what all it's about. Because I was obedient to God and had been praying to God to ask him to help me be a blessing to somebody else, he allowed that blessing to come at a time when I needed that blessing, and allowed a multitude of other things to happen within that blessing. And the enemy's plans held no weight. My stomach doesn't hurt. The tax lots are still in place. My shares are still in place. Whatever happens with the phone, I don't care. Because look what God has done. And every time I've ever complained about the phone not being on, how many times have you seen me without it? Never. Never. So even if I were to live without it, I know God has a multitude of blessings that he can have created from within that circumstance of me being in the dark. And when it's time for the phone to be turned back on, I'll be right here telling you what happened after that. Because that's the course of the life I'm living. God has been a part of me the whole time, and I've had to catch up to understand how best to align with his plans. So I hope all of this made some sense. I hope you're able to see how many different prongs, so to speak, the Lord is able to touch with just one intention. And especially for those who don't believe in a God at all, you need to see how he set all this up. See how it came from me asking him to help me, and how he ended up helping me help someone else, and in the process allowing that help to help me at the same time when I needed it most, while I was being attacked in a multitude of ways. Only for it to be in the timing of it all. Being sick at 158, needing to sell shares at 155, having not sold the share, or 1255, it's from 12 to 1. But you get the point. All this happened in a matter of 7 minutes. So that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. The duration of all of that happened in less than the time it took for us to listen to me talk about it. And I'm telling you this. The only thing I walk away from this knowing is that I'm on the right track, and that I was able to be a blessing to someone other than myself. And because of it, I was then allowed to receive some understanding that my problems, however bad they look, also have God attached to them. So they have to deal with something themselves. And that's what it's about, man. My God is bigger than my problems. My intentions are pointed at him. And whatever comes with that has to deal with him. Simple as that. Whatever it is that's coming against me, it's got to deal with God. And the closer I get to him, the more I know how to understand these little conundrums, the more I understand that I need to focus on what it is he put in my heart to do. Not what the technical stuff around me is trying to force against me to keep me from doing it. The technical things, whatever they may be, the app, the this, my body, whatever it is, if it's in the way of me being pointed at God for his intention upon my life based on what it is he put in my heart to do, all it really is nothingness as it pertains to me staying focused to him and getting it done. Because it was never my will in the first place. I didn't say, Celine, hey, come up with this idea and bring it to me so I can be a blessing to you. No, I told the Lord, someone who has the source of all those understandings, to bring some random blessing into my life, and he coerced us into this. And that's exactly what he'll do for you. So the next time any bad thing is on the way, if you will have called on God to help you, he will make it so that bad thing, when it comes, you got about 7 or 8 good things coming with it. And not only that, but you will have the mindset to wait on those good things rather than to adhere to the bad things that are happening right before the good thing comes. That's the beauty of being with the Lord above the whole time. When you pray to him when things aren't that bad, when you pray to him when things are going great, that's what he can do for you. He can do that. He can align you with the will to receive the blessing. Not just the blessing itself, but the ability to block out the noise so that that blessing can effectively land in your lap. My name is BDF 44. Thank you all for watching.